prepared to let me keep my medical if I could stay on the tablets. So they allowed me to carry on flying for about another 6 months diet. So I did everything I could.
Do you think it was a good idea to initiate insulin eventually?
Oh, I would save my life. I mean, I was dying. I mean, I remember emotions, don't you, more than facts. I remember how I felt. I hadn't been flying for a while for various reasons. Lost my class 1 medical.
Meet Simon, who is a fully trained pilot living with type 1 diabetes for the past 30 years. He had a dream to fly and he pursued his career becoming a fully trained pilot, but his life was changed completely when during a routine screening for pilots training, he was found to have a new diagnosis of diabetes. He will take us through his journey and how he received this diagnosis and how his life changed completely from flying planes to new careers in life. He has been through the phases of denial to complete acceptance of his new diagnosis of type 1 diabetes while giving up on his dream career as a pilot. Let's say a big hello to Simon and listen to his fascinating story.
You have had it for now about more than 25 years.
Yeah.
And bearing that experience in mind, as it was a screening test, what message you would give to people? Go a little bit over your first diagnostic experience and what should you advise people for screening purposes?
First diagnostic was I was having a routine medical, Civil Aviation Authority Class 1 medical for flying, and my fasting blood glucose was 5.5, and this was on my day before my 25th birthday, and the doctor was a little bit concerned. He said that's a little high, so he ordered a glucose tolerance test the very next day, my 25th birthday, and they told me at that point that I was glucose intolerant, so they allowed me to carry on flying for about another 6 months, and then there was no treatment. No one gave me any drugs, I had no monitoring, no one said, oh, do this, do that, or do the other, eat less chocolate, might have been mentioned. But 6 months later I felt quite ill, and it was the summertime, and I remember being quite ill and going to see my GP, and I hadn't been flying for a while for various reasons, and he told me that my blood sugar was 13, from another number that I remember, 13.1. And that was the start of then 18 months of trying to control my sugars with tablets and diet. And I lost quite a lot of body weight, about a quarter of my body weight at the time. I exercised fanatically to try and retain my medical. And about 18 months after that initial diagnosis, I eventually had to give up and switch on to insulin. Lost my class 1 medical, couldn't fly anymore. Again, talking about how you feel, I remember very, very distinctly and clearly feeling so incredibly better 2 days after I started the insulin than I had in almost 2 years.
So you were reluctant to initiate insulin?
Well, because that was the only way I could keep my medical was to stay off insulin. They were prepared to let me keep my medical if I could stay on the tablets and diet. So I did everything I could.
Do you think it was a good idea to initiate insulin eventually?
Oh, I would save my life. I mean, I was dying. I mean, it was a disaster.
You only realized it after you started?
Oh yeah, 2 days after I had that first insulin shot, I felt, I still, you remember emotions, don't you, more than facts. I remember how I felt 2 days after. I was 30 odd years, almost 33 years ago now. So psychologically, it's difficult. It's difficult.